Well, hello there. Hello there, fans, readers, watchers, and welcome back to Southeast Iowa Union Prep Sports Plus. We're here every week, pretty consistently, and it's February 5th, my child's birthday. Addie Krutzinger, 7 years old today. But you're not watching this. Yeah, happy birthday yesterday, because the people who are watching this are watching this on Thursday or later. So February 6th, 2025. And no matter what year it is, Hunter, it just seems like we're always powered by the same people.
Hey, every year, every week, man.
Every week.
Shout out to Fairway Food Stores.
Shout out to our title sponsor, Fairway Food Stores, powering us once again today. Get out there and get some warm food, because it is freezing cold. And when you guys are watching, it's even going to be more freezing or colder. We're here to talk about high school sports.
Yes, sir.
And this is a packed Southeast Iowa Union Prep Sports Plus. Packed.
Yes,
last week, you know what? Last week was a gimmicky show, Hunter. I was messing around with the backgrounds. We were going crazy back and forth. Today, it's like you're starting to feel things are on the line. And in the Southeast Conference, we had a couple of local rivalries that we will talk about. Hunter, you are at Washington High School.
Yes, I was.
Mount Pleasant on Friday night. Tell me how'd it go?
Yeah. As you said, was up in Washington, Mount Pleasant, taking on the Demons on the road. We got a little split on the night. We'll start with the girls' game. Ended up being a pretty big win for Washington when all was said and done, but it was a tight one through the first quarter. Ended up being a 58-26 win for Washington. As I mentioned, it was tight early on in the first, and then it kind of quickly shifted into Washington's favor through the second quarter and into halftime. But close through one quarter, as I said, and then pretty much everything changed after that. Washington bombarded Mount Pleasant with a 21-1 run to the end of the first half. So that kind of just, with how Washington's been playing, defensively, and they had an offensive rhythm in this one. You knew it was going to be tough for the Panthers to get back, but it ended up being 31-10 at the half, and really the Demons really continued to tack it on in the second half. Through the first 5 minutes of the third period there, Mount Pleasant continued to struggle offensively, scored just 2 points, and they were out. They didn't have Alexa Fuller, and so that was kind of a big post presence that was gone, and they were also down Addison Clark as well. So pretty much the Panthers' lone 2 post players. Which does make a huge difference for rebounding and things like that, and what they've been able to do for them down there. But as I mentioned, scored just 2 points through 5 minutes in the third period, and Washington scored 13 during that span. Back-to-back threes from Lauren Hendrickson, and then Regan Miller closed that run to give Washington a 44-12 lead. And kind of by that time, it was all that was kind of all she wrote, I guess you could say, just with the deficit. Mount Pleasant did outscore Washington in the final 3 minutes there, but the Demons lead sat at 49-19 heading into the fourth. And then in the final quarter there, the Demons just edged Mount Pleasant 9-7. So tough loss on the end of Mount Pleasant there, but another big win for Washington in Southeast Conference play. But Adeline Long, game high 16 points, Kendall Hendrickson 11, and Lauren Hendrickson 7. For Mount Pleasant, Abby Carthy with 10, Abigail Shelingowski 7, Kinley White 6, Peyton Ensminger ended with 3 points and 13 rebounds. So with the win, Washington 6-12, 4-4 in the conference play. Mount Pleasant 3-13 and 1-7 in conference action. So as I mentioned, tough loss for Mount Pleasant with a couple key players out, but Washington continues to look good defensively, and when they couple that with a full game offensively, they look really good.
Yeah, he Washington. I think that they don't have any more. There's no more Washington Fairfield games, right? Andy,
Nope.
think. So that means the Demons have went 4-0 in the rivalry from Fairfield, Mount Pleasant, and Washington. So if we had a traveling trophy to give on this show, we'd be awarding it to the Washington Demon girls and head coach Shannon Rudd.
Yes, sir. And then on the boys' side, what a game this one was. Probably Mount Pleasant's best, I would say almost one of Mount Pleasant's best games of the season here. Back and forth battle, tight throughout. Mount Pleasant gets its first Southeast Conference victory of the season, beats Washington 62-53. As I mentioned, really great game to watch. It was about as close as it could get through three quarters. 6 points was all that separated the two teams through those 24 minutes between the first, second, third quarters there. So as I mentioned, pretty much anyone's game neck and neck. By the start of the fourth quarter, the game was knotted at 41, so 41-41. I'm going to jump into the fourth quarter and just go through that, since it's kind of how I did the story, since that's kind of where it all shook out. And then I'll kind of jump back into the first couple quarters there. But through the first minute in the final quarter there, Washington built a pair of 2-point leads, 43-41 and 45-43. But Aiden Humble really got going in the second half. He kind of struggled early on, a couple turnovers, and wasn't finding a shot, but he really got it going, which really helped the Panthers late. The Panthers, Aiden Humble, and the Demons, Connor Lighton, traded threes to swap the lead before the two settled at 49-49. And Panther guard Ryan Helling probably changed the game for the Panthers. Huge game for the freshman. Ended up with a game-high 26 points. He kind of shifted the game into the Panthers' favor in that fourth quarter there. After it was tied at 49s, he scored 5 points off a 2 and then a deep ball to give the Panthers a 54-59 lead. And that proved to be the advantage that Mount Pleasant needed. Back-to-back buckets from Logan McDowell did pull the Demons within one at 54-53, but they would never score again in the final 2 minutes. So Mount Pleasant ended the game on an 8-0 run. So huge win for Mount Pleasant in this one. Washington did control for much of the first quarter. Ended up leading, controlled, leading them for the most part through the first quarter. So it was only 13-12 after one. But in the second, the two squads traded the lead 4 times before the Panthers ended with a 26-23 lead at half. And then in the third, neither team led by more than 3 points before, it was 41-41 heading to the fourth. So just big win for Mount Pleasant. Along with Helling's 26 points, Ian Reed with 12 points, Aiden Humble with 11. Noah Lang finished with 9 points and 13 rebounds, so close to a double-double there. For Washington, McDowell with 12, Nick Stone with 11, and Rajan Roth with 10. So Mount Pleasant, 2-13 on the season. Obviously, hasn't been the season that they'd liked, with wins. Coach Rawson talked about just getting better each and every week. And, he talked about, basically, our time's coming, sooner or later. So, but 2-13 on the season. First Southeast Conference win, 1-7 in conference play. Washington now 7-10 and 4-4 in SEC action. So tough loss for Mount Pleasant, or tough loss for Washington, because this loss knocks them out of the run for the conference title. But for Mount Pleasant, got to be feeling good, just to get a Southeast Conference win under your belt, especially after you played some close games, basically, many times throughout the season, just haven't been able to pull out a win.
Yeah, that result is the absolute opposite of the last time Mount Pleasant played against Washington and Fairfield, where the last couple of minutes in both of those games, it was close, and then Mount Pleasant didn't score for the rest of the game. We said last week about the Panther boys that they just needed a couple of the guards to score together, and 3 outside scorers in double digits is a pretty good sign from them. I mean, they can just, their defense has been pretty decent all year. If they can just get those points from the outside, then I don't know. I mean, Mount Pleasant could be matched up with one of these teams in the playoffs too.
I think we talked about it last week too with Mount Pleasant. Is we haven't seen probably, like that, the game last week, it was, it was Reed and Humboldt and Helling kind of all, like in the final, like 3 minutes or 4 minutes, they all hit a three. And I feel like we talked about last week, though, like with Mount Pleasant, it's been maybe like one player that's had a game where, and, maybe the other two have struggled, or, the other four have struggled, but it seems like, in this one, it felt like everybody, it was complete. It was a complete game by all five, or, whoever came off the bench. So it just felt like it was a complete team win for the Panthers in this one. So
sure, and yet another close game in that rivalry. And speaking of rivalries, I'm going to talk about a little Mount Pleasant versus Fairfield girls basketball. But before I do, I need to make a little bit of a transformation, because last night's game here in Mount Pleasant, Iowa, was not played at Mount Pleasant High School. It was played at the former Iowa Wesleyan University. So let me just get into my Iowa Wesleyan mode here. The former Rubel Arena, currently not named. They call it Panther Central Gymnasium. I basically got permission to just name it myself and put it in the newspaper. Kind of gave myself permission last night when we were talking about it. But Iowa Wesleyan's old basketball court was the site for Mount Pleasant versus Fairfield girls, the first varsity action to take place at Rubel Arena. There have been some JV games and stuff like that, but since the closure of Iowa Wesleyan, the first games that have really counted in that building. So it's kind of nostalgic coming in. And you mentioned Mount Pleasant got their first Southeast Conference win. And that was the only boys basketball team in the conference that had not won in the Southeast Conference. Fairfield girls come into this one 0-18, had not won a game, conference or otherwise. And the Trojans finally get it done last night. 40-35, Fairfield topples Mount Pleasant on a rivalry night at Rubel Arena. And we've seen a lot of Fairfield girls basketball this year. I've seen them a couple times where you kind of thought this might be the night. One game in particular was the Fairfield game, the Van Buren County game at Van Buren County, where I think they probably got a couple of calls that didn't go their way, and that they just couldn't sneak past. And Van Buren County beat them last night. I'd say Van Buren County of our girls basketball teams one of the better ones. Last time Fairfield and Mount Pleasant played, it was all Mount Pleasant from the absolute get-go. Fairfield was never in the game, and you could kind of tell coming into last night, you could tell from the opening tip that the Trojans were as hungry as they come. That was one they really wanted to get. Right off the bat, Grace Lyon hits 4 threes in the first quarter, which put Fairfield up 18-8 after the first quarter. Now, these two have been kind of lower scoring teams. So you see 18 points out of the Trojans for the first quarter. That is a good amount of the points that they had scored. They had scored in their last game 27 total, and before that 18 total. So that was a huge boost for Fairfield. They were up 10. Mount Pleasant couldn't quite figure out. Fairfield was running a zone defense. Mount Pleasant really wasn't getting a lot of good looks. And they didn't get not even close to the fast break points they did last game. Now, Alexa Fuller was gone for Mount Pleasant, which was the breakout star of the last showdown between the two. But Fairfield was up 25-17 at half, 33-28 after 3 quarters. And I'll tell you, when you got into the fourth quarter and it was only a 5-point game, you kind of got that feeling that Mount Pleasant's close enough. If they get this to a 2 or 3 point game, it's going to flip the feeling of the game, because the whole game kind of felt like, this seems like it's Fairfield's night. And there was just a little tinge there at the beginning of the third quarter. But when Fairfield needed it, it came. Grace Lyon ended up 5 for 7 from 3-point land, hit her 5th 3 in the second half. And when she hit that one, I think that was the point where it really kind of felt to be a real game. And then another situation, it was a 5-point game with a few minutes left. And Vanessa Kessel made a flat-footed floater and just drained right through. Went high and drained right through. And so just stuff like that. Fairfield was chasing down a lot of rebounds. Just seemed like all the scramble balls that went to Mount Pleasant the first time they played went to Fairfield this time. Trojans did well at the line, 11 of 18 at the line. Fairfield had 14 offensive rebounds on the day. So everything, all the little things that sometimes don't go Fairfield's way or haven't been breaking Fairfield's way, it was all going Fairfield's way. Mount Pleasant never took the lead in the whole game, actually. But they just kept it was 5 or 6 points. They could never get it back into it. So big win for Fairfield. Lyon ends up with 17 points. Maddie Martin with 6 points and 6 points. And let me read her rebounds. 13 rebounds, 5 offensively for Maddie Martin. So that was a big boost for them. And Vanessa Kessel with 6 points and 6 rebounds for the Trojans. Emma Metcalf and Faith Jones both had 5 points. And Haley Strickland had 1 for Mount Pleasant. Kinley White was really the one kid that was showing out when Mount Pleasant was starting to come back. Kinley, who gets a lot of her points in the fast break, she had, I think her first 8 points were off of the half-court offense, which Mount Pleasant did not get a lot of half-court offense points, period. So she was shooting the ball pretty decently, scored 13 points. Sharisa Ward had 7 points, including a couple of early threes. That's another wing that stepped up to help them try and climb back into this thing. Abby Carthy with 5 points, Addison Clark with 4, Maya Starr and Abigail Shelengowski with 3 each. And again, no Fuller in that one, so a lot of the points were guard points, whereas the first game, Mount Pleasant really dominated down low. So Trojans get a win. Let's see how many games they had left to get this done, because this kind of felt like it better happen tonight. And after the game, a couple of the girls mentioned that it was their first conference win in 2 years because they went winless last year. Remember, Mount Pleasant and Fairfield played 2 games down to the wire last year, and Mount Pleasant won both at the buzzer. So, and it did have that little feel like you thought, if it's going to be a tie game, is it going to be another game winner here? Fairfield still has Burlington and Knoxville. Knoxville's tough to close out the regular season. So, and we know Burlington's tough. So this might have been the time to do it. So congratulations to the Fairfield girls. We're in the winners column, and we have no winless teams in the Southeast Conference.
Yep. And that's a huge win for Fairfield. You got to feel good because they have put together some good games. They played Keokuk close. The battle with Mount Pleasant. They even battled with Washington a little bit. So I mean, they kind of felt like maybe the Panther boys.
Yes.
And just haven't been able to pull out a win, and they finally get it done.
Yeah, well, they were leading Fort Madison after the first quarter.
True.
And Fort Madison is possibly going to be a conference champion. It depends on how the other 3 teams battle it out. But they're a lot like the Mount Pleasant boys, where it's not. Against the top teams, they were losing blowout games, but it's not like every single game this year you've been like they have no shot at. I think that Van Buren County game is the one that sticks out to me. But they also almost beat Pekin. They almost beat Davis County. They only lost by 1 against Davis County. So they've had games where they only lost by 15 to Burlington, another team that might win the conference. So it's good to see them. Good to see them get a win. A tough one for Mount Pleasant. You could tell the frustration was just setting in. Mount Pleasant just never got the break that they needed to. I think if they would have went down and cut it to 2 or 3 points, the feeling of the game would have been so much different because they would have been a shot away, and it just was a grind to score points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So that's and then the boys, Mount Pleasant boys you talked about, Fairfield boys will be playing against Mount Pleasant this Friday, I believe. It was a weird night because Fairfield and Mount Pleasant did not play a doubleheader. But you were watching the Fairfield boys as all this was happening in Fairfield, and they had a really tough team with Holy Trinity.
Yeah. Jump into this one real quick. So Holy Trinity, obviously part of that Super Conference South division that is absolutely stacked with West Burlington and Notre Dame and Holy Trinity. Everybody, those 3 teams have all been ranked, and West Burlington, I think, is the only one that may be still ranked. So you knew this was going to be a tough matchup, for the Trojans. Despite it being 3A versus 1A, throw that all out the window when you're when you're playing ranked teams. I feel like, but ended up being a real tough shooting night for the Trojans. This one, they ended up falling 57-33. Their only lead of the night was the first bucket of the game. Eli Zillman 2 gave a 2-0 lead. But after that, kind of the Crusaders really just took over. Though the Fairfield did end the half strong, but early on there, after that 2-0 lead to start, Holy Trinity turned it into a 10-2 advantage in their favor. Trojans got it back down to 5 off a 3 from Andrew Myers, but the Crusaders end the first quarter on a 10-4 run to make it 20-9 after the first period. The second, as I mentioned, Fairfield kind of battled back late. HTC did extend its lead to 25-9 the first couple minutes there, but the Trojans found an answer with the three ball. Three ball started falling. Myers' 3 sparked an 11-2 run by the Trojans to the end of the quarter. In all, in that span, Fairfield hit 3 from deep. So the HTC lead was cut down to 27-20 before the half. But then the shooting struggles really took place in the second half, particularly in the third quarter. The Trojans hit just 1 field goal in the third quarter. Scored just 4 points in that third quarter. So by the end of that period there, the Crusaders built a 38-24 lead. And how the game had been going, it just kind of felt like it was going to be tough for them to come back. In all, in the second half, Fairfield was held to just 5 field goals. 4 of those coming in the fourth quarter, and 2 of them basically come in when with the starters not in anymore. So, really tough matchup for Fairfield. I don't know, you haven't seen Holy Trinity, I don't think, this year, but
no, I saw them last year, and they had a lot of the same kids. They were the team that played Winfield.
Yeah, they've got. Obviously the Hellige kid is their main kid, 6'5". Mm-hmm. I mean, really, no one. They had Luke Hansel on him, and he's 6'5", and he can play pretty much any position. He's got a really nice shot from deep, and he was pretty much scoring from anywhere. And
he's a star.
They're very lengthy too. I mean, the shortest guy is their point guard, and everybody else is at least like 6'3" or 6'2" and above. So. A pretty tall team for class, at least, when we see around here, I guess, class 1A. But, so tough loss for Fairfield in that one against a, really good Holy Trinity Catholic team there.
Yeah, that's a tough matchup for the Trojan boys. I should have been looking up what day that Fairfield Mount Pleasant boys game is, because now I'm confused at the schedule. All sorts of confused. Boys basketball.
Well, you want me to jump into some Washington versus Mid Prairie?
Oh yeah, man, we had a stacked week. Yeah. Do some W Town versus Mid P Town.
Yeah, Mid Prairie and Washington got a little bit of a rivalry going on. They have little trophies that they give out to the winner in these ones. But a split on the night. The girls' game was a really close game pretty much the whole way. We'll get into that one here first. But Mid Prairie takes it 55-53, another down-to-the-wire finish. Washington looked good early on, raced out to a 12-4 lead, but Mid Prairie answers back, got their offense going through the rest of that first period there, using a 16-5 run to make it 20-17 after 8. Both teams scored their game high in the first quarter, so things settled down a bit. I guess both teams kind of settled in a little bit through the rest of the game, but still anyone's game through the rest of it. But Mid Prairie did create some separation, building its largest lead of the game, 32-24. But that advantage only got smaller as Mid Prairie just hit 1 more field goal the rest of the quarter there in the second, as Washington got it down to 6, 34-28 by the half. To begin the third quarter, Kendall Hendricks and Adeline Long combined for 5 straight to get the Demons within 1, 34-33. But that is as close as they would come the rest of the quarter, as a 7-2 run put the Golden Hawks back up 6, 41-35. Lauren Hendrickson comes in, hits a 3 to bring Washington back within 3 with just under 3 minutes to go, but they didn't score again. That is until Long hit a half-court shot at the buzzer to make it 44-41 heading into the fourth. She might be the best half court shooter. She hit another one at the very end. She hit another one at the very end of the game, but the game was already out of reach. But at that point, but regardless, one of the best half court shooters I think I've seen.
Yeah, she came just short on one. She had to put up like a fading half court shot right at the end of one of the games I covered this year. I think they were down 2 or 3, right, and she launched it, and it looked good from my angle, but that one unfortunately didn't go in.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But in the final quarter, kind of what we've seen at Spurs from Washington all season long. They scored just 4 points in the first 3 minutes, so Mid Prairie had a good chance to pull away, but solid defense keeps the Demons in it. Mid Prairie was held to just 2 points through that span, so the game came to ones again at 46-45 with Mid Prairie leading, but shooting struggles ended up biting the Demons as they hit just 2 more field goals, both coming in the final 12 seconds of the game. So after the Golden Hawks, Callie Huber split at the line. Lauren Hendrickson drills another 3 with 12.9 seconds left to pull the game within 350. Obviously, at this point, Washington forced a foul. Huber goes to the line again, hits both of them to make it a 4-point game. Well, I guess not a 4-point game, a 5-point game, but so she hit that, and then that was when Long hit the half court shot again at the buzzer. But obviously, lead too great there to get back in at his time. Kind of, the clock didn't stop, so they didn't get a chance to foul again and get a chance to get a game winner. So, as I mentioned, 55-53 was the final here. Huber with 13 points, 17 rebounds for Mid Prairie. Briley Gerhardt with double as well, 12 points, 14 rebounds. Mid Prairie, Huber and Gerhardt down there do some work on the boards. Izzy Kaiser, 9 points. Long with a game high 18 points and 7 rebounds for Washington. Addison Miller, 11. Oakley Saboski with 8. So with this log, Mid Prairie moves to 14-4 with the win. Washington 6-13 with the loss. So really great game. It's kind of it feels like this is the story when Washington loses a game. It comes down to the wire like this, and it's like they're just so close, and they need just a couple plays to go their way. And obviously, in this one, didn't go that way.
Yeah, you know what? I'm wondering. They're going to be putting out the brackets for basketball here pretty soon. Are they out today? Maybe. I was going to do a little sneak peek. Sometimes you can go into Varsity Bound and sneak peek. I would wonder if Mid Prairie and Washington would get in the same. You said, I might have breaking news, Hunter. I think the brackets are being made right now because I see a couple classes are, and it looks like breaking news. You heard it here first. It seems Fairfield and Mid Prairie. Well, it's not breaking news to the people watching right now because they probably could go on the site and look at them all. But as we speak, Fairfield and Mid Prairie are in the same bracket, Class 3A Region 4. And Washington, I didn't see them in there. Looks like Washington is in 3A Region 1, which includes Mediapolis, Solon, Davenport, Assumption, and Washington and Mediapolis will be playing at Mediapolis there. So I thought maybe we'd get a little rematch of those two. Kind of would have made sense with the way they're both playing.
Is 3A.
This is the 3A Region 1. Right now, if you go to Varsity Bound brackets, which is how you sneak in there as they're doing them.
Wait, Mediapolis girls are 3A?
Yeah. They're the lower half of they're the lower half of 3A now. They're rising up. They're rising up. I remember when they were 2A, they played Van Buren County in the regional final. Maybe the regional semis a couple years in a row. Because they used to be a 2A school. But yeah, so little hint. If you go to Varsity Bound brackets, and you go to last year's brackets and it says 2023 to 2024, and then you change it to 2024-25, if they're working on them, you can see them early. So I see the 2A and the 3As. Here, I'll do a little. You know what? No, we'll go to break. Oh yes.
got the boys game real quick.
Oh, sorry. I got ahead of myself. Talk about the boys, the fellas.
Yeah, Washington taking on Mid Prairie. Usually a battle. You saw a great game last year in which Mid Prairie shot lights out. I think Ace Peck hit like 7 threes in that one, I think.
Yep. He broke the or tied or broke the school record in threes.
In this one, Washington, pretty dominant performance, 68-50. We kind of expected this one to be another close game, but 68-50 Demons, big win for them. Washington really couldn't have asked for a better start on the road. They raced out to a 13-2 lead through the first 3 minutes of the game and would never trail the rest of the game. But Mid Prairie did start close the quarter well, despite the slow start. Ended with a 7-1 run to make it 14-9 after the first quarter. The second quarter belonged to the Demons. Seth Shepard. Seth Shepard usually he usually gets he's Washington's biggest player. Let's just say that, tall, wide, lengthwise, tall, with his height. Usually gets tasked with being down in the post guarding the other team's tallest player if they happen to play man. But he gives the Demons the biggest spark off the bench of the night. The Demons scored 17 points in the second period. Shepard had 12 of them with 4 made triples. This is what we find about Washington. I've noticed with teams usually leave Shepard open when they're if they're just depending how their zone set up or how they're playing man. And Shepard made Mid Prairie pay. As I mentioned, the 4 made triples in the second quarter there. A Shepard 3 highlighted a 6-0 run for the Demons to the start of the quarter, extending the Demons lead to 20-9 in that span there. So from the 5-minute mark on, the next 3 buckets from the Demons all came from Shepard, and all were threes. Each came off a Mid Prairie score. So anytime Mid Prairie had some room to get back into it, Shepard kind of said, wait a minute, I'm going to keep us ahead here. But Drew Conrad got in on the 3-point scoring in the quarter as well. He connected on one to end the half. So at the break, Washington held a 31-19 lead. Sorry, I was reading I was like, wait, I lost my spot of what I was looking at in my notes.
You're okay.
But Washington's biggest scoring struggle of the game came out of the break. Through the first 4 minutes, the Demons scored just 3 points, which allowed Mid Prairie to get right back into it. They came within 1 point. The Golden Hawks did 34-33. During that span, Mid Prairie scored 14 points of their own, to make it a 1-point game. But Washington got it going again in the final 2 minutes. They closed on a 9-2 run to make it 46-38 heading into the fourth. And then that kind of spurt to end the third really extended into the fourth. In all, between that third quarter 9-2 run and heading into the fourth, that was all part of a large 21-5 spread by the Demons. So that culminated in a 20-point advantage. So those that run to end the third and into the fourth, the 21-5 run culminated into a 20-point lead, largest lead of the night for the Demons, 58-38. And Mid Prairie really never had an answer at that point, as the Demons get the big rivalry win. Drew Conrad with 20 points for Washington, Seth Shepard with 18 off the bench, Cale Williams with 10 for Mid Prairie, Brady Weber with 16, Caden Koss off the bench with 12. Washington moves to 8-10 with the win. Mid Prairie 14-4. I didn't even mention this was a night when Washington didn't even have a leading scorer, Logan McDowell, who was out with illness. So huge win for Washington not having your leading scorer. A lot of guys stepped up. Shepard kind of being, I guess, the main name to step up that we don't usually see. I would say in the scoring book. As much, but 18 points from him off the bench is huge, and then obviously Conrad getting his 20 there. Cale Williams knows what the 10 has been. He's been dealing with a knee injury, and he was out some games for a while there. But
early on, he was for sure.
Comes out, gives them some good minutes. So, real big win for Washington against a real solid Mid Prairie team. So,
Yeah. One advantage Mid-Prairie or Washington has is the fact that even with their post players, nobody does not shoot the three. Everyone takes shots from outside. So I wonder if that played a little difference because that's Mid-Prairie runs you out of the gym with their speed. So that's a rare team that can actually get up and down the court with them.
You could tell they were really keen on Nick Stone and Drew Conrad off. They didn't want to allow them to get threes. So when they were just leaving Shepard open, and he was just hitting them, like you look over at the Mid-Prairie bench, and they're just like.
yeah, of course. Yeah, but he's hit a few of those. I've seen him bury a couple of those at Washington High School. All right, now we're going to go to commercial. When we come back, we're going to talk about the small school basketball. The Super Conference was finished off last night. We'll talk about the Super Conference shootout matchups, and I will secretly tell you guys about some postseason matchups that we have the exclusive on knowing, but that doesn't really matter because they'll be out there tomorrow. So be back.
Introducing Hy-Vee Market Grill, where every meal is a delight. Start your day with our mouthwatering breakfast options and savor flavorful lunches with friends and family. Cap off your day with our delectable dinners. Hy-Vee Market Grill, where every moment is delicious.
The Connie and Amanda team is dedicated to giving back to our community by actively engaging with our clients, businesses, and the public. When it comes to helping you find your next home, investment, or commercial space, the Connie and Amanda team is here for you.
Washington County Hospital and Clinics, providing quality health care that puts you first. Whether during a hospital stay, seeing a primary care provider for wellness exams or sick visits, minor surgery to a total joint replacement, or recovering from an injury, we're here when you need us.
More than you expect for your health care. Washington County Hospital and Clinics.
Welcome back to Southeast Iowa Union Prep Sports Plus. The B block, we're going to talk about small school basketball. But first, Hunter, what makes it possible for us to sit here in the comfort of our own home/office and talk about high school basketball? Who powers the show to the finish line?
Well, we're very thankful for this organization, for this grocery place. That would be Fairway Food Stores.
Fairway Food Stores.
We are blessed for them to have for them to be our main sponsor.
Our title sponsor, and all the ads scrolling on the bottom of your screen. Check those out. Only give them your business or anybody else to advertise in the Southeast Iowa Union. We're going to talk a little small school basketball in Hunter. It is a huge time in the Southeast Iowa Super Conference because we got the shootout coming out. You're going to read through those pairings here in a second. But let me go by. We had one more night of Super Conference play. We're going to start with the girls basketball action, and we're going to start at Columbus Junior Senior High School. The Columbus Wildcats, with me there, boots on the ground watching last Friday night, made history by beating Waco and securing their first ever share of their first ever Southeast Iowa Super Conference North Division title. They beat Waco 44-33. That was a big hump for them to get over because Waco had beaten them last night. Another Union area clash. They welcomed in the Pekin Panthers, and Columbus beats Pekin 55-39. 45-28. I was looking at the previous matchup. 45-28, Columbus over Pekin. The Wildcats are lone winners of the Southeast Iowa Super Conference North Division. They said on Friday night that the job was not done. They did not want to have to share the conference title, and they will not be sharing the conference title. Columbus Wildcats are your Super Conference North champions. In other North Division action, Highland beats Low Eisenbach 53-34. Watch out for those guys. Remember how red hot they were at the beginning of the year. Now heating back up here. Hillcrest Academy falls to Lone Tree, the second place team in the Super North, 52-32. And in a Henry County cross highway rivalry, Waco and Winfield Mount Union, 42-25, Waco Warriors win that one. So they bounce back. They'd actually lost, I think, 4 games in a row. Bounce right back into that. It's another pretty dangerous team there. In girls action last night, the only South Division team that was scheduled to play was New London. They, in fact, had their game canceled. It was supposed to be they're supposed to have Twin Cedars coming to town, so they did not play. But in South Central action, the Cardinal Comets were at a place I used to know pretty well, Sheraton High School, where they fell 52-38, a tight one. Cardinal still trying to scoop up wins in both boys and girls basketball in the SEC. They had, much like Fairfield, they had not won a game. They are now 0-18, so maybe they'll get their stride at the same point in the standings as Fairfield. But Cardinal cannot knock off Sheraton last night. In the River Valley Conference, South, Mid-Prairie over Tipton, 48-37, win for those guys. And in the South Iowa Cedar League East, the Keota Eagles played Belle Plaine, but the score still isn't in yet. That was a horrible ending too. I had so much momentum going into that. Anticlimactic. Oh my goodness. Anyway, that's all for girls. Now let's jump over to the boys standings, where the Pekin Panthers and the Columbus Wildcats were playing. Pekin over Columbus, 68-37. Highland falls to Loazzi Muscatine, 80-67. Waco beats Winfield Union, 45-40, a close one at Waco. And that win meant that mathematically Waco would still end up sharing the conference championship with the Hillcrest Academy Ravens. Well, why does it say Waco's 13-2? I don't know. But Hillcrest Academy still had to knock off the Lone Tree Lions. Hillcrest, they had to get it done. They had to buckle down, Hunter. They went out there and they won 77-27, a 50-point win for Hillcrest Academy. And the Ravens get to hang another Southeast Iowa Super Conference North Division banner in the sport of boys basketball. In the South, let's see if anything happened in the South. We remember when I was just talking about the girls, New London was supposed to play Twin Cedars and the game got canceled. But in boys action, the New London Tigers get a win, 69-59. Wait. That is the third team of our teams that got their first win and was announced on the show today. Well, Mount Pleasant boys just won their first Southeast Conference game. But along with the Fairfield girls, the New London boys are now in the winner's circle. They won all 3 of the first 3 quarters, and they get that one done by 10 points on senior night. And then we're going to go over here to the River Valley South, where the Mid-Prairie Golden Hawks went toe-to-toe with Tipton and won 71-63 at Mid-Prairie High School. That was an 8 p.m. start, late night start for the Golden Hawks. The South Iowa Cedar East action. Keota all over Belle Plaine, 82-37. Speaking of dangerous in tournament time, Keota Eagles. Do they have Billy Kindred's number of points here? I wonder if he dropped no, they don't. They don't have the individual stats quite yet. But Keota gets a win. And in South Central Conference play, the Cardinal Comets playing against the Sheraton Chargers, and Cardinal falls in this one 80-27. And my cousin Brody scored 20 points for the Chargers. So it's tough to go against the Fighting Kretzingers. But Cardinal boys, similar to the girls, having trouble to winning in that tough SCC. They have had one win this year over ABF in boys basketball. But we'll see what happens. And here, before you get into the Super Conference shootout, let me just, since we're on the point of Cardinal, one of our favorite rivalries, Cardinal and Pekin, Hunter. And we've just added another date to the calendar because the Cardinal Comets will be at Pekin High School on February 15th for the Class 2A Region 1 Girls Basketball Opener. Cardinal and Pekin will be playing. Van Buren County has Pleasantville. They're all in the same region. And that's the last of the brackets that are accidentally available for a snooping reporter to peep on. So, Hunter, you have the shootout schedule for this weekend.
Yes, sir. Let's jump into the Super Conference girls basketball shootout. First off, the North Division seedings. Columbus 1, Lone Tree 2, Highland 3, Waco 4, Hillcrest 5, Pekin 6, Louisa Muscatine 7, Wapello 8. In the South, Mediapolis, Danville, Holy Trinity, Central Lee, Van Buren, West Burlington, Notre Dame, New London. Those are the seedings of the eights from each team. How this works is obviously, two pairs of seeds get, put in one location. So starting with the lower seed, so New London will take on Wapello. Those are both 8 seeds. And then the 7 seeds, which is Notre Dame and Louisa Muscatine. Those two teams will play each other at Notre Dame on the 6th, so tomorrow, Thursday, at 6 p.m. and 7:30, 6 p.m., 7:30 for each of them. So West Burlington will take on Pekin at Van Buren County. Van Buren County will take on Hillcrest. There centrally, and Waco will play at HTC, Holy Trinity Catholic, and then HTC will take on Highland. And then finally, on Saturday, the top 2 seeds will play. Danville taking on Lone Tree at 2, and then Mediapolis taking on Columbus at 3:30. So those are the 1 and 2 seed games. The South Division teams are the home team, so they're going to be wearing the light colored uniforms. North Division are the visitors wearing dark. And then also on Friday at Highland, Winfield Mount Union will be taking on Cedar Valley Christian. Do they just have it? How do they have that set up? Does that mean they're just not? Is it because of there's not enough teams to pair up? Is that why they have Waco playing Cedar Valley Christian?
Wait, is this in girls?
Yeah.
Let me check this out. Oh, of course I have to reload it here. Sorry, Hunter. I was doing a little snooping there. Girls shootout info.
PBS. Cedar Valley Christian isn't in the Super Conference, so I just figured it was because there's not an even number of teams.
It sure isn't. Now let me. I had it up. I thought that I saw they played somebody else. Now, if I could just come on, shootout pairings. Come on, load for me, shootout pairings. Let's get a little hype in the chat for the shootout pairing. Here we go. I have Waco playing Central Lee.
No, Winfield Mount Union.
I have Winfield Mount Union playing
Cedar Valley Christian.
Oh, yeah, Cedar Valley Christian. Because, I don't know. I guess it's because the North has one more team. Yeah, you're right. You're right,
That's
Hunter. So wait, is Cedar Valley Christian playing in the North Division? Or in the boys shootout down at the bottom here?
Yes,
yeah, Highland will be playing Cedar Rapids. Oh, I don't know. That makes sense. You know what? Shout out to Cedar Valley Christian for coming in and voluntarily taking on our odd number of teams so everyone can have a shootout game.
Yes, sir.
Honorary Super South opponent, even though Cedar Valley Christian wouldn't be in the Super South.
Right.
Breaking news by Hunter Muller. I didn't even see that when it came out. So, and that's, of course, the team that finished bottom of the North will be playing Cedar Valley Christian. So,
yes, sir.
We'll have boots on the ground on that one. On the boys' side.
The boys' side of the Super Conference shootout here. All the games will be taking place on Friday, besides obviously the top 2 seeds playing at SEC on Saturday following the girls' games. Highland was the lowest seed in the North Division, so they're going to be playing on Friday against Cedar Valley Christian at Highland. At Columbus will be Columbus taking on Van Buren County, and Wapello playing New London. At Louisa Muscatine, Lone Tree will take on Danville. Louisa Muscatine will play Central Lee. And then at Pekin, Winfield Mount Union will play Mediapolis, and Pekin will play Holy Trinity Catholic. And then at SEC, top 2 seeds will be obviously Waco, Notre Dame are the 2 seeds. Will play each other at 5 o'clock, and then Hillcrest Academy will take on West Burlington at 6:30. Those are the top seeds. So North Division teams are the home teams in this one. They'll wear the light colored uniform. South Division are away. They'll wear the dark colored uniform. So this is a fun time. This is a fun time in Super Conference action because we get to see obviously they play during the regular season occasionally and stuff like that, but it's always fun, especially when you go to SCC and watch the top two seats play. It's kind of almost like a college atmosphere in there because it is so packed at SCC. It's always loud. It's crazy.
Especially because the championship games are a different day than the other ones, so then other schools come to watch those games.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that'll be fun. Be a fun little battle at SCC, and that will be where one of us is on Saturday, and you're about to find out where the second one will be on Saturday, but not yet. We're going to keep it a secret. We'll be back to reveal the secret.
Attention Hy-Vee shoppers, introducing Hy-Vee Perks, your ticket to exclusive savings and rewards. Access exclusive perks, prices, earn gas discounts, and unlock special deals. All this for free. Join Hy-Vee Perks today and start saving.
At Seafirst Credit Union, we're all about making connections, like how we connect you to that dream vacation with a savings account designed to help get you on the flight there. Connect with Seafirst today and see why together is better.
Bring the kids, share the memories, celebrate 75 years of traditions at the Midwest Old Threshers Reunion. Relive the magic of steam engines, antique cars, and trucks, tractors, gas engines, and horses. Whether it's your first visit or a cherished tradition, you'll enjoy the delicious foods, the thrill of an Old West shootout, and the excitement of nightly grandstand entertainment. For 75 years, this has been the place where memories are made at the 2025 Midwest Old Threshers Reunion, August 28th through September 1st in Mount Pleasant, Iowa. Visit oldthreshers.com for more details.
In the heart of rural Iowa, where community matters most, the connections we make are made to last. Meet KCTC, your hometown internet, phone, and TV provider. At KCTC, we're not just about technology, we're about people. Our dedicated team are your neighbors, committed to bringing you top-tier services right where you live. We believe in giving back to the community that raised us. Experience the power of a real connection with KCTC. Join us in building a stronger, more connected Southeast Iowa.
Welcome back to Southeast Iowa Union Prep Sports Plus. We will be now shifting into the wrestling portion of the show, and we're going to get you guys ready for the third annual sanctioned Iowa High School State Girls Wrestling Tournament. It's going to be at Extreme Arena in Coralville. I'll be there. When you're watching this, I'm probably there. I'm probably sitting there, camera in my hand, on the mats, watching our 14 qualifiers, first round action on Thursday morning. I'm going to run through our state qualifiers. We had a lot of our girls were in Williamsburg, Hunter, and then the Mid-Prairie girls that qualified here were in Solon. So all pretty much up there. But we're going to just run through here in sort of alphabetical order. You know what? I'm going to do it in alphabetical order because I'm so good at the alphabet that even though this isn't listed in alphabetical order, you're going to see my brain work here. We're going to start with Columbus Winfield Union, where Jada Motes, a sophomore, will be competing at 1A 190 after qualifying from the Williamsburg Class 1A region. And then we're going to jump down to the Fairfield Trojans, where Samantha Lyons, sophomore, will be. She's 2 for 2 and going to that state wrestling tournament. She will be back in the 170-pound bracket for 1A, and she will be joined by Kendra Allison, who will be in the 1A 235-pound bracket. Kendra Allison had to beat a couple of our other local kids to get to that spot. Actually, a lot of these kids had to do that. The Mid-Prairie Golden Hawks, our only team that qualified from a different site. They were at Solon. They have 3. Gabby Gingrich, a sophomore, will be wrestling at 115. This is all 1A, by the way. Everyone's 1A. We're all 1A in this girls basketball world right now. Ashley Ferrier going back as a senior to state at 1A 130. Laken Lee at 1A 140, going back for the Mid-Prairie Golden Hawks. The Mount Pleasant Panthers will be represented by first-timer and regional champion Zinlin Lee, who qualified out of that Williamsburg 145-pound bracket. Let's see if I'm still pretty confident in my alphabetical order. You'll have to judge me on this. The Pekin Panthers, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 qualifiers for the Pekin Panthers. Lexa Nelson, a junior, is going to be in the 105-pound bracket. Leela Miller at 135, Haley Peterk at 140, and Riley Fry, freshman, at 235. Those other 3 Pekin girls were all juniors, as was Zinlin Lee. The juniors seem to have got 5 juniors of these 14 kids. And last but definitely not least, especially when you talk about this first name, Sigourney Keota's Rihanna Utterback will be wrestling at 115. I believe she is matched up in the first round with Gabby Gingrich of Mid-Prairie, I do believe. So a little early round action. We've got a couple of those matchups between girls who are in the same weight class. She's a senior. She'll be looking to polish off an undefeated wrestling record. She went undefeated last year, won the state championship. She's undefeated this year. We'll see if she can pull that off for the Cobras. Kaya Montgomery, 125, Class 1A. She's a sophomore, and freshman Carly Griner will be making her state tournament debut at 155. And we talked about basketball earlier, Hunter, but we do have some wrestling coming up on Saturday as well. So you have the Thursday, Friday girls wrestling tournaments, but on Saturday we have the boys district meets. And so then next week we'll have the boys sub-state meets and then state. It's very complex, Hunter.
Yeah, there's a lot to it.
We have some in Centerville. We have some in Williamsburg. We have some in Pleasantville. It's going to be a long drive on a Saturday to see if we can get some more boys in. We'll see how the boys compare to the girls. We'll see if we can get 14 or more boys and keep track. I'm going to try and tweet out everything that goes on at Extreme Arena. I think the internet there is a little sketchy, but we'll see if we can get another champion in the sport of girls wrestling or boys wrestling. We didn't have any champions last year, so tell you what, we're going to have a couple shots.
Yeah, there's a lot of good girls wrestling, especially in our Union area. Heading up there, obviously, Rihanna Utterback, obviously a favorite by far, but yeah, there's a lot of chances for some girls to make some noise up there this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so anyone who won their bracket, like Zim Lee won her bracket, so she's a 6th seed. But a lot of those tournaments, the girls wrestling tournaments, chaos. You never know what's going to happen. Utterback has really been like the one consistency in that he hasn't lost or come close to losing really. But it's a crazy place to be at. So I'll be there tomorrow, and we'll see how far we can go. We talked about wrestling, basketball brackets. We're going to get into bowling here. But before we go, Hunter, Andy, and Peter will be giving Super Bowl picks. Now I want us to do final score and Super Bowl MVP. And if anyone gets it dead on, I will let you host the show for 1 year. You'll be the official host. And if it's me, then you guys have to send me each $4,000. So that seems fair. Yes. Hunter, you ready to roll?
I'm trying to think of my final score.
You know what? I'm gonna randomly select producer Peter Camp to be the first to go here. If we can hear you, Peter. If they can't hear you, you just relay it to me, and I will relay your score and MVP predictions. Patrick Mahomes. That's pretty good. Pretty good pick there. 27-24. Is that what he said? Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
Official prediction. Now, Hunter, you're a Chiefs fan, but you're also an unbiased media personnel. What's your prediction?
34-27 Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes MVP.
Oh, a couple of very similar predictions. I will be predicting a lower scoring game. 23-22. Philadelphia Eagles. Super Bowl MVP, Cooper DeJean.
You think he's going to have a couple picks?
Yeah, I'm going to go. My projected line is that he has an interception and a forced turnover, and he also scores on either defense or special teams.
Punt return?
Probably a punt return. Ideally, in like the last minute of the game. There's their predictions. Mahomes, DeJean. We're all picking stars in this thing. Everyone enjoy your
Super Bowl birthday.
party.
It's Cooper DeJean's birthday along with Saquon.
And Saquon Barkley. The signs. Oh, and my daughter's birthday today. The signs.
We like breaking hearts.
You ever watch The Signs? Signs.
You hear me?
You ever watch what? Breaking Hearts?
I said we like breaking hearts.
Happy birthday to the ground. That would be a great reference for one of the Chiefs to pull out. Travis Kelce would probably say that. Shout out to Andy Sandberg. What a song that was, like 15 years ago. That's it. That's all we got for you. You don't have to go home, but you got to leave.
What a great show.
You know what? What a great show, just in general, man. I know we're part of the show, so we're not unbiased, but unbiasedly, what a great show. What a great Super Bowl it's going to be on Sunday. Everyone watch it. And, hey, tweet out to us what your predictions are, and you'll be the official host if you get it exactly right with the Super Bowl MVP. Oh, Connor.
Perfect timing.
Connor's ready to roll. So we are ready to roll. We're out of here. Tweet us your Super Bowl picks.
We'll see you guys. We'll talk about it next week. Super Bowl next week. We'll see you next week. Peace.